September. I had the operation in October, but I didn't start treatment until the end of January.
Right.
And because it's such a rare cancer, it's dealt with in a rather unusual way, in which I have to have blood tests. I used to have blood tests every 3 weeks, and it was a drug I took called mitotate. And you have to have a certain amount of mitotate in your bloodstream for it to start working. And they start you off on the lowest dose, and then you go on with that. And I was never ever reaching the right level in my blood. It was always far too low.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the maximum dose, and it was still on the low side. And I was starting to really despair that I was ever going to reach the right, this was ever going to work for me. Because, as I was told, this is the only real treatment they have for this type of cancer. There's no other type of treatment. There's no surgery, there's nothing else. This was
prescribed from the oncologist?
The oncologist, yes. Yeah. Which was always a deep joy to try and get the tablets from the pharmacy, because the first time we went, they were ordered in. The second time, they weren't there, and so forth and so forth. This was every time we used to go on, and they would only order them a month at a time because they were so expensive.
Mm.
And I don't know, that made me feel even worse, because I thought, are they expecting me not to be here next month? Was this what they weren't expecting? We're not going to order you,
yes.
And it was all very negative to begin with,
Yeah.
and what have you. And that really wasn't good for me at all.
In a way, that was an additional burden, coping with that regime. And
it was, but then again, in the end,
but
we used to laugh though. We used to make a joke when we used to go to the pharmacy. You see other people there, and you think, yes, I'll probably see them back when I come back in another hour, because they still won't have, wondering who got their drugs first. We used to do, because you have to make, otherwise you'd go stir crazy, I think.
Looking back on that time, are there some lessons that we can learn in the medical profession about what could have been done differently?
I think, there was never any, when you went to the pharmacy, it was always, well, you have to speak to somebody else. No, they're not here. No, nobody ever wanted
organisation,
and things like this. I understand these things are expensive, and yes, you don't want to overload them. But I did at that time. The treatment, he was prescribed for life. They said to me, you have to be on this for life, if you can tolerate it, because each person has obviously a different rate as to when they can say, well, enough is enough if you become unwell. But to begin with, I was fine. I had absolutely no problem at all. You wouldn't even think I was taking tablets. And you read, the 50,000 side effects. Well, same with any drug, isn't it? Even an aspirin.
Yes, on the leaflet, yes.
The leaflet, you'd never take anything, would you?
No.
But you can't be like that, sure.
I know what you're saying. You give it your best shot.
You do.
And what was the result later? Because I know you said just there you had to go on a higher dose in order to achieve the level.
And I did eventually get to the level.
Oh, that's
the right level.
But did it mean that then there were some side effects?
There were. The side effects started to kick in. Total lack of appetite, extreme tiredness. There were times when I was at work when on my lunch break I could have just quite happily laid down and gone to sleep. I found it very difficult sometimes staying awake and what have you, which in turn led to me I got very down about it all and everything, and I used to feel so sick at times and just really, really horribly unwell. I think the same like most people get from drugs or any type of chemo.